Think back to a time when you were really happy. You probably didn't just feel good. It was more than that, right? You felt full. And when you're unhappy, you don't just feel bad, you feel empty. That's because happiness is a kind of satisfaction. It's not a sensory feeling of pleasure. Rather, it's a psychological sense of being full, of having everything you need and everything you want, and not needing anything else. And we usually try to achieve this feeling of fullness by satisfying our desires, consuming things, consuming pleasures. But this is often not the best approach to actually achieving happiness. And the philosopher Plato explains why. Suppose there are two men, each of whom has many jars. The jars belonging to one of them are sound and full, one with wine, another with honey, a third with milk, and many others with lots of other things. And suppose that the sources of each of these things are scarce and difficult to come by, procurable only with much toil and trouble. Now the one man, having filled up his jars, doesn't pour anything more into them and gives them no further thought. He can relax over them. As for the other one, his containers are leaky and rotten. He's forced to keep filling them day and night, or else he suffers extreme pain. What Plato does is he compares our souls to these jars. When you're satisfied with what you have, then you are like a full jar. You feel good, you can relax, you're happy. But when you're not content, then your soul is like a leaky jar, which you have to keep filling up in order to feel full. You have a constant nagging feeling of needing more and more pleasure all the time. You always need something. But there's also another problem. Sometimes you can fulfill your desire, but sometimes you can't always get what you want. Sometimes you're unable to fill up your jar. And what do you do then? You are left feeling empty or bitter or hollow inside. You feel unhappy. But there is another option. Plato says that you should control your desires. Say no to them. Be disciplined. This is how you patch up your leaky soul so that you can feel full. When you can't get what you desire, you change your desire. That's how you achieve fullness. A person who wants to be happy must evidently pursue and practice self-control. Each of us must flee away from lack of discipline as quickly as his feet will carry him. Instead of letting your desires control you, you must control your desires. Rule your appetites instead of being ruled by them. The conventional wisdom says that self-control, temperance, and abstinence make us unhappy and unfulfilled. But Plato says the opposite. The key to happiness is being self-controlled and master of oneself, ruling the pleasures and appetites within oneself. It's desire that leads to misery and being unfulfilled. Only by self-control can you achieve a sense of fullness and satisfaction. And this is the good life, the life that is adequate to and satisfied with its circumstances at given times, instead of the insatiable, undisciplined life. This idea would later evolve into a much more radical philosophy known as Stoicism, which focused on finding happiness and peace by accepting the world as it is. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "Demand not that events should happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and your life will be serene." The reason you're unhappy is because you want your life to be different than it is. Again, it's about your desires. You're unhappy because your desires are ruling you. You wish you weren't single, or you wish you weren't married. You wish you didn't have the crummy job you have. You wish you had a different body. You wish you were more attractive. You wish that people liked you. You wished you were more talented, smarter, more privileged. You feel worthless, inadequate, not good enough, and you wish you were better than that. You wish things were different. But what if you liked being the way you are? What if you were content with who you are and the way your life is? Or what if you focused on changing the things that you can change and accepting the things that you cannot change? Stoicism says that there's no reason to be miserable over things that are outside your control. Epictetus gives us a powerful image of what it looks like to live a disciplined, satisfied life. Remember that you must behave as at a banquet. Is anything brought around to you? Put out your hand and take a moderate share. Does it pass by you? Do not stop it. Is it not yet come? Do not yearn in desire towards it, but wait till it reaches you. Do this with regard to children, wife, office, riches, and you will sometime or other be worthy to feast with the gods. And if you do not so much as take the things which are set before you, but are able even to forego them, then you will not only be worthy to feast with the gods, but to rule with them also.